closest to sing with it.
Okay. Unison twice.
All right.
The third time through, we start smoking.
Unison once.
Unison once.
And then twice as a rate.
So right at the beginning, huh?
Yes.
Stay tuned. There we are. Ha-ha. Good morning. Now we're in business. Hey, hey. Happy Sunday. Welcome to the first Sunday of the month. Wow, this is going to be a fantastic morning. What is one thing that you think is going to happen? Anyone? What? Yes, lunch. Okay, what is something else that's going to happen? Yes. The kids are going to sing the adults out of the room. Yes. So, if this is your first time visiting with us, welcome. Wherever you are, whoever you are, and wherever you are on your journey, you are absolutely welcome here. Welcome to Tennessee Valley Unitarian Universalist Church, where anything is possible and we all do it together. So, we definitely welcome you. This Sunday is going to be an exciting Sunday. We are doing something that we've not done before. And this has definitely been a coordinated effort among many people. So we do have a couple of announcements this morning. I would like to invite Casey Clark up for the first announcement, and she's going to be representing a couple of different people.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Casey Clark, and I am here today because today is the May 1st Sunday lunch. I'm told I wasn't loud enough, so thank you. So today's the May 1st Sunday lunch, and so the first Sunday lunches, first Sunday of the month, are generally a potluck. They are hosted by the Let's Connect team. That's me and Betty Kidd, who's back helping prepare your lunch back there. And every month it's sponsored by a program in the church. And this month it is sponsored by the Food Ministries program. And Barbara selected me to speak for just a minute about the Food Ministries because I have volunteered for each of them for some period of time. So what is the Food Ministries at TVUUC? We have three main food ministries. We have the VMC Meals run by Alan Morgan. They plan, purchase ingredients, cook, and serve meals to participants in a program at the Volunteer Ministry Center down on Broadway, just north of downtown. And have been doing it for I don't know how long, forever. We also have, not loud enough still? Okay. And then also we have Fish of Knox County. Fish, TVUUC and other churches in the area provide bagged food and personal supplies to folks in the community. I always think of it like what you'd get at the food bank for people who can't get to the food bank. And then TVUUC also provides other personal things like toilet paper and toothpaste and that sort of thing. And then the TVUUC Little Food Pantry, which offers free food and personal care items to those struggling with food insecurity. It's located at the edge of the upper parking lot over there. It's a zero-barrier outdoor pantry that is open 24/7 to anyone in need, no questions asked. The items and funding are donated by us, the friends and members of the church. Also, the community garden over here and the little food market that often sells stuff after the service over here also help to fund the little pantry. All of these programs serve our community with love and compassion and treat each person we serve with dignity and respect. For me, I participate in those programs because I feel it's a way to live my UU values. So, after the service today in the fellowship hall, to the left, if you're new with us today, to the left as you leave the sanctuary or as you're coming out of the long hallway, it'll be on your right, we are going to celebrate our food ministry programs. And as we enjoy the abundance of food that we will share today, let's remember to support our food ministry programs in whatever way we can. If you want to know how to support these programs, please catch either me or Betty. We've got the black t-shirts with little Let's Connect, or you can send us an email at TVUUC letsconnect@tvuuc.net, N-E-T. So, and we'll help you figure out how to share your time, talent, or treasure. Now I'm going to put on a new hat. This is I'm the Volunteer of the Month hat on right now. So, Volunteer of the Month. We have a tie for this month's Volunteer of the Month. And neither of those folks could be here today. So next week, we will honor and celebrate the Volunteers of the Month for April. And please remember to vote for the Volunteers of the Month for May. There's a ballot box in the fellowship hall, or you can vote online under the Get Involved menu item, and then it's another menu item that says Vote for the Volunteer of the Month. So I know that was long. Thank you all for your time, and I hope to see you at lunch afterwards.
Yes, let's give her an applause. There's a lot of work, a lot of laughs and joys, and introspection that goes into all of the food ministry programs. I also would like to ensure that we embrace the flexibility of both the caring table and the gift card table. You will pass them as you enter the fellowship hall after church today. And please just, try and take a moment and reflect on their presence and the excellent job that both of those tables do in ensuring that we all have an opportunity to raise money for the church through the gift card table, and the caring table, I don't think needs many words. So please pause as you enter the fellowship hall and thank those individuals that donate their time to that table. So without further ado, I believe we will silence our electronic devices as we enter into worship, and I believe Gordon Gibson is going to come and take the podium.
Because today's Sunday is a little different. Joys and concerns come earlier in the service. I'm Gordon Gibson, a member of the spiritual care team. One member of our team is always available to take calls to the spiritual care team number, which you'll find in the order of service right here on the back or in the weekly newsletter. We'll take daytime or early evening calls, and if it's a time or circumstance when we can't take the call, we respond to voicemails that you leave at that number. Call if you have a care, concern, delight, or thought for which you need a listening ear. Two people, near and dear, have lost beloved animal companions in the last week. Sue Vaughn and her toy poodle Max had had a 15-year relationship of mutual support. Max was a little guy, but he occupied a big spot in Sue's heart and in Sue's life. He was especially special because he, unlike most dogs, did not cause Sue's allergies to kick up. Many of us got to see Mocha play supportive roles in the background of some of the Reverend Jametta Alston's Zoom sessions. He was the character who would hop up on her bed and add visual interest to the picture. This, too, was a long-term relationship of 15 or more years. Jametta is really going to miss Mocha. Let's send some compensatory love and care to Sue and Jametta. On the good news front, and isn't it great to have some good news in these days? On the good news front, Steve Krause is doing well at the rehab center. He graduated from the hospital to the rehab center, and later this coming week, it's expected that he will graduate further to that welcome spot called home. Even more good news comes from Debbie Ellis, who says, after a very long 6 months, I am driving again. Yay! She says, I was very fortunate to have so many people helping me get to and from work and for errands. I so appreciate all the help I received, and I'm very thankful for the generosity of so many. Thank you all so very much. I count myself as lucky to have had the kindness of others shown to me every day. I will miss the visiting I got to do while being driven around, and I'm glad to know some of you better. That was the highlight of a very stressful time. Again, thank you. I would add to Debbie's thanks a loud shout out to Bill Cherry, who coordinated these rides for her. Yay, Bill. We share here those joys and concerns we know about and have permission to share. There are others known to us, but not for sharing, and still others unknown. In all instances, let us hold one another in care, concern, and respect.
Good morning. I'm Mark Mohendro. I'm a member of the Adult Religious Exploration Committee, and our gathering hymn today is in the Teal Hymnal, number 1023, Building Bridges.
Good morning. As this is a round, we've got some leaders to help us in doing it as a round. So we'll first sing it in unison, and then I'll kick off the first part of the round. Then Ann will come in, and then Roy, and then Ted. So sing with whichever leader is closest to you. Building bridges between our divisions. harmony. Thank you.
Welcome to a different kind of Sunday morning experience, our first ever flipped service, as we're calling it. So as you can see, we have begun together in worship as usual, but when we sing our recessional in a little while, it is the grown-ups who will be invited to head out and down the hall for adult RE opportunities this morning, while the kids and youth and RE volunteers will occupy the sanctuary for the rest of the morning. And you'll notice too that some elements of our service that usually happen a little bit later have been pulled forward a little bit so that everybody is still present while we do them. And so we invite you to join us in the spirit of exploration and openness as we try out church this way, this time, inviting many of our adults to experience Sunday morning in a way that is a little bit more similar to what our young people experience every week, and giving our beloved young people a chance to make the sanctuary their own in a way that they don't always have the opportunity to. And so I just wanted to take a moment to share a little bit of logistics with us. So at the end of the story this morning, we have a couple of volunteers who are going to be stationed at each of the doors out of the sanctuary. And as our adults recess, you are going to be handed a card. And so make sure you get a card on the way out, because that is going to have, it's going to tell you which room to go to. It has a big colorful dot and a map of our building. And each of our adult RE leaders is going to be standing by their doorway with a sign that has a really big version of the dot and the name of the room on it, so it's really easy to figure out where to go. And our adult RE leaders who are here this morning, would you maybe raise your hand or stand up so we know who you are? I didn't warn you I was going to do this to you. Thank you. So grown-ups who head down the hall are going to have an opportunity to have a little toe dip into some of the adult RE possibilities that we have. And don't worry, those who are watching our streaming service are not being left out. You are going to have your own adult RE toe dip experience as part of the stream this morning. So we are excited to share this with you. And do not worry, next week we will be back to normal. But sometimes the opportunity to experience things in a little bit of a different way helps us explore the things that are important to us and expand a little bit and think about what we are together as a community in all the ways that we gather. So I welcome you to our service this morning.
This morning's opening words are from the Reverend Gretchen Haley. Whatever you come in anticipating, whatever you expect or worry for our world, for the future, for our lives, let it go. Make space in your heart to be surprised. Make room in your soul for a new story to take shape. Let astonishment be possible. At this life that remains a miracle, imagine here the bursting of joy, relentless and resilient, coming in waves washing over us, with music and story, silence, and stillness streaming together, being hope for each other, and courage to believe in this new day dawning for us all. Come, let us worship together. bit of technical difficulties on my part with lighting the chalice. Today's offering is for a Generosity Sunday. That means that everything you give that isn't marked a pledge this morning will go to TVUUC's General Operating Fund. And there are several ways to give. You can put cash or check into today's basket as it goes around. There's a kiosk in the lobby where you can use a credit card and donate securely online at http://onrealm.org TVUUC give. You can also give a gift by text message. Send TVUUC and the amount to 73256. Thank you.
This meditation is a tribute to Gordon Lightfoot and is a combination of two of his pieces. Early Morning Rain, where it's told from the point of view of a person who feels trapped and helpless in a setting of opulence and freedom. He's at an airport and can't get away. And Rainy Day People is describing those people who always know when they're needed, they know when to call, they know how to sit with you in your pain, they know how to love and share that love. And so this is our meditation.
Good morning once again. It is good to be gathered together. I have a story to share that might start us off on our day together, and it is called The Catawampus Cat. And it is adapted from a story written by Jason Eaton. And it begins in a town where one day a cattywampus cat walked into town, slightly askew. The first one to notice was the grocer at his market stand outside, Mr. Grouse, who saw the cat walking and kind of tilted his head, looking at the cat. And he asked his wife, who was there, "What do you think is going on with that cat?" Now, she was a little annoyed with him. Have you ever been annoyed with people in your family? They were a little annoyed with each other that day. They'd had a little friction that day, and she kind of responded with a little bit of that annoyance, and she said, "Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's nervous, or maybe there's something wrong with it, or maybe it noticed something." And pretty soon, what do you think she did? She turned her head too. And the both of them kind of stood there looking like that, and then all of a sudden, they noticed something. And Mr. Grouse said, "Look under there, right under the corner of their shelf." It was Mrs. Grouse's wedding ring, which had been lost for a long time. Have you ever lost something that was important to you? He went and grabbed it, and he slid it on her finger, and he said, "You know, from this angle, you look exactly the way you did the day we met." And they hugged. And the Catawampus cat continued down the road. The next person to see the Catawampus cat was the town barber out the window, who saw the cat and kind of started to tilt too. He was giving a woman a long bob, and as he was clipping, snip, 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 oh no! He cut at an angle. He was a little nervous, but then the woman saw herself in the mirror and said, "I love it! I've had the same haircut for 50 years. The Catawampus cat continued down the road, and the next person who noticed him, he kind of walked into the library. Have you ever been in a library? And how was the Catawampus cat? What was he like? The town librarian was busy pulling some books that people were looking for off the shelves, and she saw the Catawampus cat, and she kind of went, and she pulled the wrong book off the shelf. But then she looked at the book that was in her hand, and it said, "How to Build a Boat." You know, she loved working at the library, but in her heart of hearts, she had always longed for adventure. So you know what she did? She decided to take a leave of absence, built herself a boat, and she set off for adventure. Now, the Catawampus cat continued through the town, going inside and outside. Have you ever known an animal that liked to come inside and go outside? And every time somebody saw the Catawampus cat, what did they do? They kind of tilted their head, and sometimes they tilted their bodies, and things started to change. And people liked it so much that they started to build tilted buildings. And even their cars they made off-kilter, although that might be a little more dangerous than they thought initially, right? Yeah. And the town started to change, and people started to notice things they hadn't noticed before. They started to connect with people they hadn't connected with before, because when they were just a little bit this way, things looked a little different. And so the mayor of the town decided that they were going to make, now it turns out the cat had sauntered into town on a Tuesday, so they were going to make the first Tuesday of the year Catawampus Cat Day. And they created a huge celebration in the center of their town that first Tuesday of the next year with their tilted stage. And everybody threw confetti at an angle, and they celebrated. And the mayor said to the Catawampus cat as it walked in, "Well, what do you think? Now everything in our town is Catawampus, just like you." And what do you think the cat did? The cat looked for a little while and then stretched out like a cat did. Have you ever seen a cat stretch? And then straightened up and sauntered out of town, standing up straight. Finally, uniquely Catawampus again. And that is our story for this morning. So, I would like to invite our young people who are staying here with us and our volunteers to come up towards the front, and our grown-ups, our learners and leaders who are heading to our adult RE spaces. So if you would go right to that doorway there and hand them to people as they go out. We've got one person at each of the doors to make sure you have a card. And now we are going to sing our grown-ups out with our recessional song. are still making their way out because I created a little bit of a traffic jam, making them have to get something from somebody on the way out. And so we are going to experience this space in a little bit of a different way.
Bye.
And now is also a good time. Come back around. You'll actually have a chance for that a little bit later, okay? So come back around and join me here, okay?
La la.
You are going to have a chance. And now is the time for our folks watching on our stream. We are going to transition you to your adult RE experience. And it might take a few seconds, but I think you're going to make it over there in just a moment. So, welcome. So how many of you who are here this morning feel like you have spent a lot of time here in this sanctuary? Yeah. How many of you have spent a lot of time in this sanctuary when there weren't a lot of people sitting in all the pews? Not too many of us.
Hello, friends who are experiencing our service today through our stream. Hopefully we have made the transition here relatively smoothly. I'm so glad you have joined us this morning. This is going to be your opportunity to be part of everything that's happening today. Those watching our stream are not being left out of the flipped service experience. You are also going to get an opportunity to experience church in a way that is similar to what many of our young people experience weekly, and perhaps what most of our adults do not. Only those who are volunteers in our program typically have this kind of Sunday morning experience, where we are in worship together for just a portion of our morning, and then transition into another space in our building where we have opportunities to really engage in different kinds of being together in community, focused around learning and exploring and growing, being of service, thinking about who we are and what's important, all those different things that I believe people of all ages are looking for as part of their experience of being in community together and in being in religious community together. So I invite you to enter into a spirit of curiosity and exploration today as we have our topsy-turvy, little bit different kind of service experience for adults and for young people today. Just as those who are here in person have just transitioned and the adults have been invited to go down the hall to our RE spaces, we are also going to travel. So we are here in the sanctuary at this moment through the magic of video, and then we will go to one of our learning spaces so that you have an opportunity to be in one of our 8 spaces for toe dips into what some of the different possibilities for adult religious exploration are in our community as we begin to envision what is possible for our future. Welcome. Each of our adult RE spaces today will begin with these gathering words adapted from Marianne Cotter. Welcome to this place of possibility. This is love's hearth, the home of hope, a refuge for minds in search of truth unfolding, ever beautiful, ever strange. Here, compassion is our shelter, freedom our protection from the storms of bigotry and hate. In this place, may we find comfort and courage. Here, may our sight become vision to see the unseen, to glimpse the good that is yet to be. So you may be wondering at this point, why all the focus on this thing we keep calling adult RE, or adult religious exploration? What does that mean? And what does it have to do with me? Why should I care? Isn't religious exploration just what the kids do on Sunday mornings? Connie Goodbread is a Unitarian Universalist religious educator who consults with congregations around healthy systems and transformation. And Connie says, faith development is all we do. Unitarian Universalism is the faith we teach. The congregation is the curriculum. And her words remind us that faith development is not just for children. In fact, it is a thread woven through all of our activities. But what is faith? So if you are watching in a format that offers the opportunity to comment, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments, perhaps in conversation with one another about this. What does the word faith mean to you? Because sometimes when we use religious language and vocabulary, we need to make sure we're talking about the same thing, that we have defined the word in a way that offers a common understanding. And so I want to share with you what I mean when I talk about faith. I understand faith to mean that in which we place our trust. Faith to me is at heart a trust that who we are and what we do matters. And so a person of faith is one who makes a commitment to living in a way that reflects that trust. And so there is no specific belief or dogma that one must hold in order to be a person of faith. Rather, faith is an act of living with integrity and purpose. And perhaps more specifically within Unitarian Universalism, faith development is the development of a way of life informed by our UU values and committed to living them out in the world. And what that looks like can be very different from person to person, but when I talk about faith development, that's what I'm talking about. Now, UU religious educator Joy Barry has created a really powerful metaphor for faith development that is itself an expansion of a framework created by developmental psychologist James Fowler. And in Joy's work, she expands upon Fowler's stages of faith. So Fowler uses lots of words to describe his stages of faith formation, but this graphic offers a handy rhyming shorthand that is often used. So in stage 1, according to Fowler, faith is caught. So this is early childhood. Faith is not a thought-out set of ideas, but instead a set of impressions that are gained from parents or other significant adults in young children's lives. In stage 2, typically in middle childhood, this is where we talk about faith being taught. And so if you think about traditional Sunday school ideas of this idea of teaching of faith, at this age, children's source of religious authority starts to expand past parents and caregivers to others in their community, like teachers and friends. So faith is something to be experienced and learned. And kids are learning what their roles are and are beginning to learn about fact and myth. Stage 3 faith, then, which most people enter into during adolescence, is when faith is bought. So personal opinions gain a lot of importance, and these young people often grapple with buy-in to the faith of their family and friends. And so there are elements of questioning and resisting in stage 3, where we're looking at buying into faith traditions. In stage 4, faith is sought. So this is where the seekers are, and many of us are in this stage. People are asking questions and discovering. We put a great deal of emphasis on what we think. People find and lose their place in a community of faith. And this stage often starts in late adolescence. However, Robert Keeley points out that people of many generations experience the kind of dissonance that comes with the real questions of faith that one begins to address at this stage of development. And along with questioning their own assumptions about their faith, people at this stage start to question the authority structures of their faith. And this is often the time that someone might leave their religious community if the answers to the questions that they are asking are not to their liking or are not satisfying to them. And it is in this stage that people start to take greater ownership of their own faith journey. Now, Fowler has 2 more stages in his framework. Stage 5 is conjunctive faith, in which the questioning of stage 4 gives way to a more comfortable place. Some answers have been found, and the person at this stage is comfortable knowing that you may not find all the answers. And the strong need for individual self-reflection maybe gives way to a sense of the importance of community in faith development. People at this stage are also open to other people's faith perspectives, not because they're moving away from their own faith necessarily, but because they have a realization that other people's faiths might inform and deepen their own. And then there is stage 6, universalizing faith, pointed out by Fowler as one in which people have, as he said, a special grace that makes them seem more lucid, more simple, and yet somehow more fully human than the rest of us. Examples of these people might be people like Gandhi or Thich Nhat Hanh. But UU religious educator Joy Berry has something to say about this framework of Fowler's and offers something more for UU communities. So she says to us, James Fowler's classic faith stage theory centers I. It is about the individual's experience, perspective, and development. Fowler believed that individuals move through the stages of faith in a linear process, which may not map to our own understandings of our own journeys, right? So Fowler believed that people move through in a linear process and that most people never move beyond stage 4, these to the rare stages 5 and 6. And Joy questions, why would they be rare? She asks us, what if Fowler missed something essential about how individual development always happens in the context of connection? That individuals do develop through stages of faith, but their capacity for faith development is affected by the ongoing shared work of people learning and growing together. And so Joy has created this framework where she talks about the collaborative work that is necessary for real, deep faith development in the framework that she calls wrought faith. And Joy says, wrought faith centers we. It is not as focused on the individual. It is faith forged actively together in community. And wrought is an old word that means worked. It describes something shaped, forged, changed, and strengthened through active work. Wrought iron is an alloy. It's a mix of metals. It's resilient and strong, yet it's malleable. It's meant to be shaped with tools in human hands. Its final form is determined by how it is worked. So when Joy is talking about wrought faith, she's talking about faith that is created together in a community. Now, I suspect that one reason why you have come to TVUUC, or why you have kept coming, is because you are longing for something. There's something you are reaching toward, something you want to grow toward. And I'm going to take a few minutes now to share a small dip into an adult curriculum that's available called Spirit of Life. So Spirit of Life workshops offer opportunities to explore Unitarian Universalist spirituality. And each of the workshops focuses on a different aspect of spiritual life and is framed by the lyrics of Carolyn McDade's song, Spirit of Life, which may be familiar to some of us. And so now that we have taken a little bit of time to reflect on what faith development is, so we've created that shared language about what we're talking about when we say faith development, and what it might look like in the context of religious community, we're going to focus on, again, the roots that nourish that search. And so I'd like to invite you to take a little bit of time to reflect on questions I'm about to share. And I invite you too, if you are watching in a way that offers the opportunity to comment, to do so in the comments on the stream. So, which aspects of your life do you think of as being your roots? Some examples of this might be places you've lived or are living, family origins, ethnic or cultural identity, religious background. So what are your own roots? And then further, which of these roots nourish the tree of your spirituality today? And how do they do that? What do you find nourishing? And then expanding upon that, which of your roots would you like to give more water to? Which do you want to strengthen and deepen so that they can nourish your personal spirituality more? I'm going to give you a few moments to reflect on this and share if you like. And as you do so, I wonder, Are you finding it easy or hard to identify your roots in the way that they have fed or not fed your spirituality? What does it feel like as you're thinking about your roots? And how do you think your roots have affected your spirituality as it is today? So next, we're going to think a little bit about Unitarian Universalism's roots. And this may be something that is familiar to some of us and is new to some of us. So we're going to think a little bit about ideas and sources that are foundational to our Unitarian Universalist faith. Some of these roots have been in the ground, feeding the trees of Unitarianism and Universalism for a long, long time, and other roots have taken to the ground more recently. And so I invite you to think about what roots of Unitarian Universalism's living tradition do you feel nourished by? Some of them might be reason and religion, inclusivity and welcome, the idea that the sacred is always unfolding, roots that include teachings from earth-centered traditions, freedom of belief and practice, Christian teachings, Jewish teachings, respect for differing viewpoints, recognition of and respect for interdependence, the experience of transcendent mystery and wonder, prayer and meditation and worship, sharing of joys and concerns, humanist thought, wisdom from the world's religions, justice-making and anti-racism, working for the common good, caring for our planet. And there may be more roots that come forward for you as you reflect on this. And so as you think about these roots of our faith, I'm going to invite you to take a moment to think about which Unitarian Universalist roots do you most want to help grow in your personal spiritual life and in the spiritual life of our congregational community. So if you had to identify 3 roots that you are most drawn toward in this moment, that feel most life-giving or most nourishing to you, which would those 3 be? Now, participants in all of our adult RE spaces this morning are being invited to wrap up our time with some conversation and reflection that will help offer some direct input into the crafting of a vision and structure for adult programming for the next year. So I want to extend the same invitation to you who are participating virtually this morning. And so we have a set of common questions for conversation that are shared in each of our spaces. And so in this format, that means you're invited to respond in the comments to any or all of these prompts. And so those include, what does spiritual growth mean to you? Or if this term isn't meaningful for you, what words would you use? Second, what kind of growth opportunities are you longing for or drawn toward? Or, as we sometimes say in our children's programs, what do you yearn to learn? Third, what, in your estimation, is TVUUC uniquely positioned to offer to our community? And we're thinking both of those who are members of TVUUC as well as others in the wider community who may be looking for what we have to offer. And fourth, how can TVUUC nourish your spirit and offer you opportunities to expand your comfort zone and experience new possibilities for your own life? And this could be programming, or you can respond more broadly. And you, as our virtual participants, have an extra element this morning that you will get to enjoy, thanks to possibilities that come with having a video format. So I'm going to give you some time to reflect on these questions, and as we do so, we'll share a song with you. The song is Heart Wide Open by Leah Morris, and at the end of the song, I will return to offer a closing for our time together today.
Keep your heart wide open, though the waves wanna push you around. You got to keep your solid ground. I'm gonna keep, I'm gonna keep, I'm gonna keep my heart wide open. Though the waves want to push around, though the waves want to push me around, I'm gonna keep, I'm gonna keep, I'm gonna keep my heart wide open until my faith brings me back to solid ground. Until my faith brings me back to solid ground. I'm gonna keep, I'm gonna keep, I'm gonna keep my heart wide open. Though the waves want to push around, though the waves want to push me around, I'm gonna keep, I'm gonna keep, I'm gonna keep my heart wide open until my faith brings me back to solid ground. Until my faith brings me back to solid ground.
Welcome back. I'd like to invite all who would like, as we close our time together, to share in comments one thing that you're going to carry with you out of your experience here today of this different kind of Sunday morning at TVUUC, as I share closing words from Enfleshed. There is no me without you. We shape one another. The sacred that birthed us weaves our lives together so that we can only find ourselves through shared becoming. Thank you for joining us today. Go in peace. Next Sunday, we will return to a more familiar format for our time. Thank you. And I invite all who would like to join in our coffee hour, our virtual coffee hour on Zoom today. Take care and thank you.